And I called the point of contact POC and says, when can I meet y'all? He said, well, we have a meeting at 9 o'clock. And then from there, you can probably come by at 9:30. I can walk you around the facility. I showed up about a little bit before 9, went through their meeting for about 30 minutes. And then after that, of course, I went through the entire facility with that person. It took the entire day to look at one hangar. About 5 o'clock, I said, well, I'm taking a lot of your time. He said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I said, okay. The parking lot is still full. The parking lot is still full. Well, my first impression when I went over there was, these soldiers are lazy. You know, they start at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. It's like, wow, we go work at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? Come to find out, 5 o'clock, the lower ranking list members will go home. And 2/3 people are still there. The NCOIC in charge, NCO in charge, they're still there until about 6 or 7 o'clock. And everyone else that's much higher ranking, they don't go home until 7 or 8 o'clock. Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, but still, that kind of worked out, right? Still 8-hour, 10-hour day. One thing I didn't realize until the next day is that they go to work or PT 6 o'clock in the morning. And they have the PT together in one company. I don't know, any of you, are you in the military? Yes. Okay. So 6 o'clock in the morning, they showed up for PT. And after a PT for 30 minutes to an hour, then they get to freshen up and come back to work at 8:30. It's like, wow, I mean, that's dedication, right? Who does that? Nobody, right? Except for people in their military, maybe. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Always downtown.
Most of us, it's like 8 hours. That's it. I'm really ready to go home. And I started asking myself, why do they do this? Why do they, day in, day out, and some of them actually work 6 days a week, and some actually work 6 days on, 3 days off, but their shift was at least 12 hours. The MedVac folks, they actually work 12-hour shifts, 6 days, and then 3 days off. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Of course, they fix aircrafts. So mission comes first, right? If the aircraft needs to be ready to go, they need to work night and day to make sure that aircraft is ready to go. Because people's life depends on what they do. But what about Toastmasters? We also have missions, correct? What is our mission? You come as an officer before the meeting, you leave after the meeting. Your job is not done. And you have to coordinate outside the meeting as well. So instead of just working that 8-hour day like everyone else, your involvement in Toastmasters is a lot longer because you have that commitment. You have that mission. You say, well, what's the mission of Toastmasters? What is the mission of the club anyway? It should be in front of each one of the booklets.
Yes.
Somebody read it for me.
Okay, the mission of a Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every individual member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth.
Thank you. Every individual member, you hear that. Every member counts. Every member is important. We usually have a broad stroke. Well, this is Toastmasters, and we just kind of look at everything in broad terms. But we really need to take care of individual members. If we don't, then our club will eventually shrink and shrink and shrink to non-existence. I've seen that happen when we don't take care of individual members, and that's really important. Would you like to do the overview of the training, or do you want me to continue on with other things I need to say?
I mean, if you have more to say, I was going to read this part where the mission is, and the rest of this right here.
Oh, go ahead.
The vision, the values. Yes.
Would you like to go and do that now? So
Yeah. I'll do that. I'm going to use this as speech number 8, if you can. Okay, the brief overview of training. Like I said at the beginning, we're going to have different presenters present the 7 officer positions in the Toastmasters Club, from Sergeant at Arms to Secretary to Treasurer to Vice President of Public Relations, Vice President of Membership, Vice President of Education, and the President. I'm going to read just a few things here. The mission of Toastmasters International, their vision, their values, and then the Toastmasters promise. The mission of Toastmasters International. Toastmasters International is the leading movement devoted to making effective oral communication a worldwide reality. Through its member clubs, Toastmasters International helps men and women learn the arts of speaking, listening, and thinking, vital skills that promote self-actualization, enhance leadership potential, foster human understanding, and contribute to the betterment of mankind. It is basic to this mission that Toastmasters International continually expand its worldwide network of member clubs, thereby offering even greater numbers of people the opportunity to benefit from its program. The vision. Toastmasters International empowers people to achieve their full potential and realize their dreams. Through our member clubs, people throughout the world can improve their communication and leadership skills and find the courage to change. Values. Toastmasters International's core values are integrity, dedication to excellence, service to the member, respect for the individual. These are values worthy of great organization, and we believe we should incorporate them as anchor points in every decision we make. Our core values provide us with a means of not only guiding, but also evaluating our operations, our planning, and our vision for the future. Being a Toastmaster means more than simply making a commitment to self-development. Everyone who joins a Toastmasters Club is making a commitment to the club, its members, and to the organization as a whole. A Toastmasters promise. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my speech and leadership projects to the best of my ability, basing them on projects in the competent communication, advanced communication, or competent leadership manuals, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs, and to maintain honest and highly ethical standards during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. So that was a Toastmasters promise, along with the values, the vision, and the mission. So some other points, and I don't really want to get ahead of far ahead of the presentations, because I'm pretty sure it'll be mentioned during the presentations, but being a Toastmaster officer is not just taking a position and doing a task. It is also being an example to your fellow members, and it's also to train yourself. You know, being an officer, through being an officer, you're also being trained, and you also learn things about Toastmasters and what to do and how to conduct yourself not only as an officer, but in communication and leadership. So, do you have any more words before we go into the session?
Two modules I'd like to present, probably 5 minutes each, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maurice. Thank you.
Okay, these two modules are from Toastmasters International. First one is healthy team. How do you build a healthy team? You have a team of 7 officers running the club. So how do you make a healthy team? First thing, trust. How do you build trust? This is going to be interactive. How do you build trust? Yes.
Open and honest communication.
Absolutely. Okay. How often do we just kind of like, oh, I know this information, you don't, and then that becomes a conflict eventually, right? What else do we do to build trust among the club officers?
Keep our commitments.
Keep our commitments, absolutely, absolutely. Do what we say. That's great. Yes.
And constructive criticism.
Absolutely. Oh, that's the next point. There you go. Constructive criticism, right?
Yes.
What happens if we are negative all the time? Do people come back?
No.
We'll say, well, this is your job. You should have done this last week. Ooh. Are we going to be officer next time because we're getting these negative feedbacks all the time? No, no. That's the negative. We want to be positive. How do we build that positive feeling toward each other and still working through? Sometimes some of us just have to work a lot and not able to devote a lot of time into Toastmasters. And we just need to somehow be able to accommodate each other, because this is a volunteer organization. Any of you getting paid? No, no. So getting volunteers to work together is really tough. So trust. Of course, healthy conflicts, constructive criticism, what Maurice just said. Commitment is the third one. And accountability, commitment, you said that. And results is the last thing. Results is a matrix that you can measure for the team. You probably have a matrix for yourself. Let's go, okay, in my life, I want to do this and that and the other. It could be the 100 things you want to do before you kick the bucket. Now, that could be a goal. Another thing that you could do is a team effort. Okay, how do you measure success in Toastmasters? Anyone?
Growth.
Okay, how do you measure growth?
Good question.
Where we have.
I was gonna say, kind of the students club.
There you go. That's one measurement, right? 10 points. What are the 10 points?
The achievement of the club goals that Toastmasters provides for you. That seems to provide the roadmap to success.
Absolutely, absolutely. With the Distinguished Club program, just remember team. What's the first one? Do you remember?
Oh, I have my notes on me from the other session. Team is, let me go to it. Uh-oh. Training.
Training, okay. Training, that means 4 officers train spring and 4 officers train fall. Right? That's why you're here. Pardon me? At least 4. Thank you, John.
More.
Yes, at least 4, hopefully 7. Okay, what's the second letter? T-E?
Yes.
Okay, E is for education.
Okay.
Education. You have the CCs, everybody know what CC is, right? ACs, CL, ACB, ACS. There's a lot of alphabet soup here. But that is the educational goals that each member can achieve, both the club achieves and member achieve individually. So education. And I believe that is at least 6 points, right? So education is really important when it comes to Toastmasters. Because we're a nonprofit educational organization. If we don't do education, what happens? We're not doing our job as a club. So the next one is A, administration. Make sure that your club officer list is submitted on time. Make sure at least one of the 6-month dues are paid on time. Then you will get that 1 point. And then of course, M, what's M for? Stand for? Anyone? Membership, yay! I wish I had chocolate, I can throw it at you. Membership. Why do we emphasize membership?
You're not growing, you're dying.
That's one. Yes. Yes.
Well, we have growth through membership. If you have, I mean, if you just one member, you're just the only member of your club. I mean, your
But
opportunity of
if
growth.
we grow membership every year, shouldn't we be at least by 100 member by now? If we grow membership every year.
Right.
Oh, we lose members.
No, we can't lose members.
Why do people leave Toastmasters?
They've accomplished their goal.
That's one.
Life conflict.
There you go. They moved. They lost interest. It could be. Toastmasters overall, on the average, is 40%. So that means you're going to lose 8 members every year on the
The
average.
retention rate is 40% or the loss rate is 40%?
The loss rate is 40%.
Oh.
That's why you have 4 members for one point and 4 members for another point. So they expect 8 members to leave in every given year on the average across the board.
Yeah.
Your club might be luckier, might be not as lucky. That's 8 people that you have to replace. But what happens if you're a DCP, you're starting at 10?
You have to gain at least 5 members before.
That's 15. And then you have to make up for the 8 that we would lose. So 8 plus 15 is 13. So you have to at least have 13 members for that 1 year. That's more than 1 member a month. So your VPM is very important. Some clubs are very lucky. Club members just keep coming back, but there are other clubs that, because their program is not running well or people move out, maybe a transient membership within the club itself, they lose members. It's not because they don't want to stay, but there's for various different reasons. So team is very important when it comes to measuring the matrix. How do you build a healthy team? Again, trust, healthy conflicts, constructive criticisms, if criticisms at all, commitment, accountability, and measuring the results. If we can focus on these, then we can build a healthy team. The next module is the quality club. This is an hour module. I shrink it down to 5 minutes. So there you go. This is the Reader's Digest condensed version, right? Quality club. How do we run a quality club? That is the question. That is the question. If you conduct the module on the moment of truth as a VP of membership, your membership to go ahead and conduct that module, then these are the things that you will cover in that module. Your first impression, membership orientation, fellowship, communication, program planning, how your meeting is organized, membership strength, and achievement recognition. Okay, these are the things that you need to focus on to have quality club. Membership orientation, when you have new members come, what happens? Do you assign them a mentor to make sure they understand first 3 speeches? What is table topics? What is timer? How many of you actually assign mentors to? Okay, 1?
Yeah, our club.
Okay, that's great. Well, if you're not, then you need to start assigning mentors. Because it's really hard for someone to get into a club or an activity that they haven't done before. And if they come to the first meeting, second meeting, third meeting, they're still nervous. They're still trying to figure out what's going on. If there's someone next to them that says, don't worry about it, I'll explain to you after the meeting, it's great. They're going to stick around a lot longer. Next one, fellowship, variety, communication. Communication among club officers and fellowship. It's very important. Do you meet outside the club? Become friends outside the club? If you don't, then slowly people are going to drop off because they have done everything within the booklet. They say, okay, I'm good, thank you very much, and they leave because there's nothing else for them. Program planning and meeting organization. This is very, very critical. How often do you come to a meeting and about 6, 7 o'clock, the meeting's ready to start? Oh, I still need an evaluator. Anyone? Okay, well, I need a speaker. Anybody got a pocket speech? If you're a guest, are you going to come back? Probably not. If you're a member, you might not come back. So it's always important to work together as a club officers and say, okay, we're fall short on this and that. How do we strengthen this? There's tools out there to help you do that. Membership strength. Do you have open membership drives in your club? Or do you just depend on chance?
He didn't see that.
What's that? Oh, just you depend on chance. People walk in the door. They will. People walk in the door, and probably people will walk out the door as well. You need to position yourself where you're not just depending on chance. Okay. Chance is good, but chance is not good either. Because there are times where you have 6 months and no one emailing you and say, okay, what's going on? And all of a sudden you have 4 people showing up at the meeting saying, hey, I'd like to join Toastmasters. That's chance, that's luck. But you can't depend on luck all the time. And you gotta be able to drive membership or have membership drives and schedule that out so you will make sure that you are at least on the success side, not the failure side. Achievement recognition is very important. Do y'all use ribbons for achievements?
She's got
We talked
them.
about that. We're gonna implement that.
She's got them. She's had them. She took them out of there.
Well, I'm overlapping a lot of presentation for the other officers. Achievement recognition is so very important. Why do we get trophies when we win a first prize, first place, second place, or third place? But we just get a pat on the back and shake hands and say, okay, thank you very much. Who's going to compete, right? Who's going to compete? In our club, Megan, what do we do?
We pass out the ribbons for best speaker, we have the ballots, we have best speaker, best evaluator, best legal topics. And everyone will have their ballot, and then they'll pass on, right after the evaluations are finished, they'll pass the ballots over to whoever's going to count them, and then we pass that along to the president to pass out the awards at the very end.
That's good, that's good. The club I used to go to, the first one I went to, if you complete your CC, you automatically get a name tag from Toastmasters. I mean, the club buys it, but you will have your name with a CC on it, and you can buy, there's different, I guess, endings to your name tag you can replace them with. That's a long time ago, but you could if you have the funds. You have the funds. That's recognition for club members getting some, yes.
What's completing the CC? I don't have another
So give me to
number.
that first book here.
Oh, finishing it. Okay.
And see, she hasn't been already taken.
CC. Okay, CC. Okay.
This is the team. If anybody wants a copy of it, I can send this to you. This is the moment of the truth. If anybody wants to look at that, and these are all the points that Valerie will consider for your club. Everyone got to fit one of these, right? This is in back of every book, basically, and talks about the CC, the ACB, the ACS, ACG. Yes, it's all in there.
This is something I'm gonna print out.
And most sounds like you need a mentor.
Well, Ted always calls the president when I was new and I had an assignment the next week, he would call and explain it to me and said, this is what you're gonna do. And
Good.
so he called me and let me know
Yes.
when the first time I ever did something I'd never done before. So, so yes, I would know.
Well, when I first joined Toastmasters, I didn't have a mentor. There were probably 2 or 3 members. I didn't give my icebreaker for 6 months. And I had 154 odds before the guy stopped counting. Seriously, I'm still around, but still, it would be nice to have a mentor to explain how the timing works. How does this, why do we time, and so forth. It's really important to guide someone, even a member that's been there for a long while, and you stop using the manuals to guide them as well. So they understand that we're in it as a team and not necessarily just as individuals. Just remember the members, to run a quality club, you really need to focus on members. Why do you join? Why do you join?
When I joined,
Yes.
leadership and communication development,
Okay. Do you know why someone else joined?
hopefully for the same reason.
Right. Every person's reason might be slightly different. You as officers, you need to understand why someone joined and making sure the quality of meeting sometimes is directed so they can achieve their goal. Why did you stay? Dan?
I stayed because it gave me an opportunity to prepare for a mission that I was going on. I knew I would be in a series of briefs day after day after day.
Ah,
And
yes.
I knew, what I knew from childhood, the more effective you are in these meetings. I've been to one of the core charrette meetings before, and I've seen how those things can go.
Yes, I will for the court.
I
Lead
know.
one of these charrettes, yes.
And I saw the power of being an effective communicator, especially when you're at a table just like this, where everybody has a shared interest but different goals. And the ability
Yes.
to think critically and speak effectively on sometimes some sensitive subjects is a skill that has to be developed. This was an opportunity to do it at a friendly environment.
Speaking of a true Toastmaster. Enhance member experience. You want to make sure their experience is positive. Okay. Remember, this is experimental setting. Okay. There is no right or wrong answer. Someone might belly flop here while they're giving a presentation. That is okay. Be constructive. Pat them on the back. Say, great job on doing this. These are the things that you could improve outside the meeting. Don't do it right in front of everybody. Remember, it's experimental. It's self-paced. Of course, you need to push people along, but just remember, it is self-paced. Peer feedback is important, a positive peer feedback, because that's what the organization is about. It's giving them positive feedback so they can improve next time. And again, lastly, mentoring. Mentoring is very, very important. Without that piece, people will stop coming to the club meetings, the new members. Maurice?
Okay. At this time, I will go into the presentation of Sergeant at Arms. And some of the things that we're going to go through, that I'm going to demonstrate is the Sergeant at Arms role, the Sergeant at Arms responsibilities, and the Sergeant at Arms resources. The objectives are identify your role within the club, fulfill your responsibilities within the club and club executive committee meetings, find resources that help you fulfill your responsibilities. So, what is the Sergeant at Arms role? What is the role of the Sergeant at Arms? The main duties include maintaining all club equipment, ensuring the club has enough supplies to conduct each meeting, and also create an organized meeting space. So, I can demonstrate from what I have done as Sergeant at Arms for this club. I would usually come in around 30 minutes before the meeting, and I will put up the banner, put up the flag, put up the banner outside that you may have seen when you came in. And also set up the lectern and bring out the gavel so to prepare the president to start off the meeting. And some of the other things that we do at the club, we do have a red light, a red, yellow, and green light for the timer. So various little things like that we do here at Hilltoppers, and other clubs may do more or less. But the main responsibility of the Sergeant at Arms is to prepare the meeting room for the club meeting, each club meeting. And to go along with that, there are maybe some clubs that meet at different places maybe not, if not every week, maybe every other week or so. The sergeant at arms then would have to coordinate with that meeting place, make sure they got the scheduled time of the meeting, and that that time slot is reserved in advance, so the club can meet at that time during the day of the week that that club meets. So we're going to discuss the Sergeant at Arms responsibilities during the meeting, outside the meeting, and during the executive committee. Okay, before club meetings, like I just mentioned, set up the banners, the flag, the lectern, the light for the timer, the red, green, yellow light. And another added thing that we do here is I set up a laptop in the back right there, because we have one member who gets on through Google Hangouts. And if we don't have enough officers here tonight, I'm going to end up texting that one member and then turn on the laptop so he can tune in to this officer's training through Google Hangouts. So upon arrival at club meetings, the Sergeant at Arms should be prepared to welcome the members that come in and any visitors that come in. And that Sergeant at Arms should display an attitude of happiness, confidence, and just meeting everyone with open arms. You're supposed to just have a happy demeanor about you, because you're representing the club and you're representing the Toastmasters brand. So during club meetings, the Sergeant at Arms will welcome any late arrivals. They'll coordinate food service if there is any, and then during any voting, they'll collect ballots and tally votes when necessary. And if there is food service during a meeting, and if any member or guest needs a drink, the Toastmaster or anyone he delegates should take action to get that person a drink, because you don't want members and guests getting up during someone's speech or someone's presentation. So the Sergeant at Arms will do that so there's little distraction as possible. Okay, after club meetings, the objective is to return the room to its original configuration if the room has to be rearranged prior to the meeting at whatever meeting place the club meets at. And to pack up and store materials. So here at Hilltoppers, after the meeting, take down the banner, roll it up and put it behind there. I go downstairs, take the banner down from the front, bring it up and put it back, and also the same for the lectern and the gavel and the flag. And dispose of any trash. We usually have a trash can here. We don't have one here right now, but as the former Sergeant at Arms, I should have known to get someone here at Carpe Diem to get us a trash can. Okay, outside the club meeting, schedule the meeting location. Those are for clubs that don't meet at the same place every week or every few weeks. Ensure adequate supplies are available. The ribbons, like John mentioned. The guest book for guests that come in. Attend executive committee meetings. and arrange your replacement or assistants, and prepare your successor for office. So I want to talk a little bit about that. When the end of the year comes and new officers are elected, and in the case of the Sergeant at Arms, if there's a new Sergeant at Arms, you should prepare that person and tell that the new Sergeant at Arms some of the duties or the duties that the Sergeant at Arms has to perform. In other words, you don't want to just say, I was Sergeant at Arms, I'm not now, my hands are clean. You want to just instruct your replacement of the duties of Sergeant at Arms and prepare that person for when he or she takes office. And again, it goes back to one of the objectives of Toastmasters, is education. And we're continually in education mode. Just because we leave the officer's position, we're still educating ourselves, and we're still helping each other out, whether you're an officer or not. Okay, the executive committee. The executive committee consists of the 7 officers, Sergeant at Arms, Secretary, Treasurer, Vice President of Public Relations, Vice President of Membership, Vice President of Education, and the President. So the Sergeant at Arms role in the executive committee is to update the executive committee on the club meeting space status, work to coordinate the meeting space for those clubs that don't meet at the same place every week, chair social and reception committee. So the Sergeant at Arms can have a reception committee to help him or her out to perform the duties that need to be performed by the Sergeant at Arms. And then replace items as needed. So any supplies that we run out of, the Sergeant at Arms should, if the Sergeant at Arms doesn't get the supplies himself, he should point out what is needed, and through that get the items, any items that are lacking. Okay, how to fulfill the Sergeant at Arms responsibilities. How, when, who, and what. Okay, the how is how will you fulfill this responsibility? When will each action be completed? Who is available to help you? What materials or resources can you use? So that is the Sergeant at Arms responsibility action plan. So these questions need to be answered in order to help the Sergeant at Arms to perform his duties effectively. Okay, we have a checklist for the Sergeant at Arms. Okay, attend district-sponsored club officer training program. And that's not just for Sergeant at Arms, that's for any officer. Read materials, because every officer needs to read the materials in order to become a more effective officer, to be more effective at their position. Meet with the outgoing executive committee. So after the new officers are elected, they should meet so they can get input from the outgoing officers, so the new officers can get information from the outgoing officers. Meet with the outgoing Sergeant at Arms, so the current Sergeant at Arms should talk to the new Sergeant at Arms again about the position, about what to do, and how to do it. And then again, ask for volunteers to assist you if needed. And that goes not only for sergeant at arms, but for other positions too, all other officer positions too. So this concludes the sergeant at arms session. So our next presenter will do the secretary position, right?
Correct.
And that person is Megan Frazier.
Yes.
Let me tell.
The treasurer first?
Yeah, it says treasurer, but I can forward it to secretary.
Actually, I'm not familiar with the PowerPoint, so I didn't compare anything with the
That's
PowerPoint.
Okay,
So I just
you
have-
present it how you present it.
Okay, if you don't
Yes,
mind.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Megan. I am a member of the Eastern Shore Toastmasters Club. And this past year, I served as secretary. And the primary job of the secretary is to be the record keeper, just to keep track of all the records and be the note taker. In our meeting, what we do when the secretary, is what we did before I even started, was take notes at the meetings and have meeting recaps. And we would send them out to the members to recap the meeting and who opened the meeting, who was the Toastmaster, who spoke and what was their speech about. And it was an opportunity to give the other members and all the members a snapshot of what they missed at the meeting. And I don't know if anyone here is serving as a secretary or if you want to pass this along to your secretaries. If this is not something you're doing, I printed out a few of these as sort of a template to look at when we're doing recaps. And this can be just kind of a fill in the blank. It can be just a fill in the blank, like, when you send out an email, you can say, the theme of the last night's meeting was summertime blues. I actually have an example here, and this one is a little bit longer, so I won't read this, but if you would like to, you can take one of these.
Nathan, what's the purpose of sending out a meeting recap?
Well, you know the answer to that question, but.
Oh, I see something going on, Brady. You're saying distinguished Toastmaster.
Yes,
You've got to earn that title.
yes,
You
okay.
cannot say distinguished if they are not
Not
a
distinguished.
true distinguished
So
Toastmaster.
I'll make sure Steve is.
Okay, we'll clarify that.
Yeah.
The object,
You should use their title at the beginning,
I got-
apply your title at the end.
okay, we'll make that clarification, and we don't use that every time.
Yeah.
But the idea of sending this recap, there are a couple of things. One, it builds a camaraderie with the group. It makes everyone feel that their voice is being listened to. They're getting recapped, even if for the questions that they answered on table topics, they get a little snippet of what they talked about. And so they get to revisit that meeting. And it gives the other members who weren't able to attend an opportunity to review what was covered and maybe feel like they missed out a little. So maybe the next time they should show up to the meeting, because look out what all the great things they missed out on. And it doesn't need to be extensive. This is one of the more extensive ones that I did, but we have another secretary now, and hers may be a little bit different format, but the general idea is to just recap the meeting. This was the theme, this was who spoke, and just a few sentences about each speaker, a few sentences about table topics. And this also can serve as a way to keep track of the members who attended. Another job of the secretary is to keep track of attendance, and a lot of clubs will use a sign-in sheet, and they'll keep records that way. We've sort of been hit or miss on that. We've had other committee members take on that responsibility and keep track of attendees through spreadsheets. But I do believe it is a primary responsibility of the secretary. And there are some checklists here, obviously, in the club leadership handbook for the secretary. And it's posting the minutes. This is after the meeting, you will post minutes for the previous meeting. In addition to emailing these, we also have a Facebook page. And so I post these notes on the recaps on the Facebook page, and along with some pictures. We also have a member who wants to take a lot of pictures. We post that on our Facebook page as well. And the other responsibility is to keep an updated roster membership. And I'm sure you all are familiar with the Toastmasters International Club Central on the website, and where you can view and view your club, access the membership roster. Whenever that changes, I printed out a copy and put it in a binder. So I just kept a binder of current materials that we needed to keep track of, and I keep that at the meeting location, and I pass that on to the secretary that is in the position at this time. Another responsibility is to keep, in addition to keeping the club's attendance, is to keep the guest book available, ready to be signed. So pass that along to any guests that have arrived and have them sign the guest book. At that time, you can also get their email address and add them to the distribution list. And for the committee meetings, pretty much the same goes. It's taking minutes for the executive committee meeting, sending them out afterward to the group. I'm sure a lot of clubs do it differently. Maybe after they meet, they read the meetings and they vote to approve the minutes. I believe at ours, we would just send them out as an email and get a general consensus that everyone agreed. And don't know that I have anything more extensive than that. It was the basic overview. It's just my basic responsibility as the secretary was to just be the primary note taker and record keeper, and I did the best I could. So hopefully you all have a great secretary in your club who can just keep accurate records and take some good notes. So thank you. I actually need to head out, so I'm going to.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. She's going to try to do this.
All right, at this time, we will have a presentation of the treasurer, and that person is John Wallers.
Hey. I went by default. Yay. Treasurer. Why do we have treasurer in your club?
Keep up the money.
Keep up with the money,
And
yes.
to pay the dues.
To pay the dues, absolutely.
The elected money.
My first club, when I went over, when someone else took over, that person was the president, vice president of education, treasurer, secretary, sergeant at arms. That person ran the club. That person ran the club. And luckily we have some money in the bank. Have no idea how the money was spent. Nobody knew. Ribbon just showed up. That's great. We started having different things that just show up, and that's just wonderful. We have no idea how much is collected. We have no idea how much is spent. That one person was in charge. That's not the way you should run your club. Not at all. That is right. That's the reason we have a treasurer. That's the accountant for the club itself. Like what Joan said, collect dues, pay your bills, and you probably have local dues. You have international dues. And you also have other dues that you collect for your club. It's important to have financial reporting. Who pays the dues? Members. Right? So they're entitled to know how the money is spent. So quarterly, you have to at least quarterly submit a treasurer's report. And on the executive meeting, you need to work with the other officers, come up with a budget. How much money are you going to spend on the open house? How much money are you going to spend on ribbons? How much money are you going to spend on rent? How much? Everything. Because if you don't, how will you know whether or not you hit the mark? You don't. If you have any money left. It's important. It's very, very important to have a treasurer and work with the treasurer as executive committee to make sure you have a budget. Can you have a business without budget? We just spend whatever we like. No, you can't. So this is really one way to get into running a business if you don't know how to run a business. This is a great way to do that. You need to make sure that the dues are submitted on time as a treasurer. There is no more grace period. There used to be a 10-day grace period where you can, October 1st, you got 10 days until October 10th to pay your dues for the entire club. no longer.
I understand when I went to international, there's not even a grace period for a club. You must have your dues, the club must have at least 8 members paid before October 1st.
Before October 1st, not on October 1st.
No,
Before October 1st.
By September 30th.
What's the ramification? Your club is suspended until such time you pay?
Until they can get at least 8 members paid.
Okay.
And see, that's the same as no grace period for a member. They've got to get their money.
Absolutely.
This is for
Absolutely.
accounting purposes.
Wow, okay. Well, that's a little different. That's a little different. So you really need to go ahead and send out the due notices August 1st, like a month ago.
Yeah.
So you can go and collect the dues and pay before 15th of September. So get it done. Get it done. If you haven't done so, get your treasurer, just go ahead and send out the notice to all the members and go ahead and have that dues collected the next 2 times you meet. Submit a new member application. That's very important. Budget, we talked about that. Quarterly report, we talked about that. How do you fulfill that responsibility as a treasurer?
So then again.
How do you fulfill that responsibility as a treasurer? That's really the last question before we move on.
I didn't hear the question, I was writing. So that was a question.
How do you fulfill your responsibility as a treasurer?
What was the question before that? There was no question.
There was no question before.
Oh, no.
Just budget, quarterly report, submit new members
It's
application.
just what was told.
I was rambling about the things that you should do as a treasurer. Yes. Not I'm rambling, but that's the things that you can do as treasurer. If you know how to be an accountant, go ahead and make it happen. Go ahead and send out the notices. If you don't know how to do it, make sure you get with the previous treasurer. If you don't know how to do that, or there's no previous treasurer, then go to the president and say, hey, I need help with this. It's okay to ask for help. In being any officer, if you just don't know how to do certain things, go ahead and ask.
They can get a list of the membership from Toastmasters International, go to Club Central. So the presidents, somebody should be able to tell them how to get on it and assign, get on to Toastmasters International.
That's the website, Toastmasters International.
Yeah, and then.
Toastmasters.org.
Yeah.
Toastmasters.org. Yes.
Or to-
Everybody's got to log in, correct? The Toastmasters International, your email with your password, you go in, click on Club Central.
They'll
Okay.
assign you a password. And then
So the first time you go,
they'll assign you a password and so forth, because they know you're a club officer.
Without that, you cannot pay dues. Without that, you cannot make sure your officer is correct. Without that, you cannot submit your officers list. Without that, you can't do anything.
So
It's
the
a.
Toastmasters.org website's gonna know if I'm a secretary or not?
Yeah, it does.
If they
And if I'm
submit
not, then I can't
it, you
even go
can't
in.
get in.
You can get in as a member, regular member,
But
but you
not
won't be able to
as-
get into the,
To
As a
club
secretary.
activities.
that's correct.
So that's what I'm gonna hit when I get in there, I'm gonna hit club activities.
Well, Club Central, Leadership Central, then it'll take you to Club Central.
That's correct.
Leadership,
Central.
and then what?
Then you're a club, so you want Club Central, and it'll tell you that you can get under club, whatever your club number is
So I'll look
now.
for my club now.
Well,
You'll
it'll come
probably be the only
up,
one.
it'll be the only, it'll tell you.
Yes.
Then you hit that, and then it'll tell you if you want a membership list or what, or if you're gonna pay dues. It has some.
I'll have that
Yeah.
list.
So in
Call
there,
it up.
everything that's highlighted, you can do. As a secretary, you can do pretty much everything that everyone else in the club as an officer can
The
do.
officers can do,
That's correct.
club officers.
They don't restrict you for what you can and cannot do. The only thing you cannot do is submitting your own award. If you're done with your CC, the VP of Education really need to do that for you. Or the president, or someone
The
else.
VP of Education cannot even do it.
That's right, that's right. You cannot put your own awards. That's one thing. So if you don't know how to fulfill your requirements, you can look in here, the Club Leadership Handbook. If you don't have this, try to get one, let me know. I'll get you one. And if you really need to know something, go and get with the president or the previous treasurer, like I said. Just ask if you really need to do that.
Nelson can help you. Nelson will things that you
Okay,
give you that helps.
so should I have one of those books now that I'm leaving?
You should have been given one.
Well, I just became a leader, so I wasn't
Oh,
leaving before,
well,
so
he should give you.
who would I ask?
Ted should have it.
Yes. You should have one. You should have a copy you can have.
We'll work it for you.
Any questions on being treasurer? Signature card, it's very important. You want to make sure that you have two, so that each one of you have, or each one of your club actually have a bank account, correct? Yes, I see a nod. Yes?
Personally?
No.
No, yeah, for your
A
club.
club bank account. A club bank account, yes? Okay. Club bank
I'm
account?
sure there is.
There is
It's
also.
been, club's been around a long time.
Okay, okay. Well, international Toastmasters, the rule is that you cannot put the funds into your personal account. Okay, it used to be that people do it, but now it needs to be separate. It needs to be completely separate. We're our 501.C.3 is a nonprofit organization. So that means we can actually go to the bank and say, hey, I'd like to open a bank account. They said we'll be at $5, $10 a month. No, I'm
Yeah.
a nonprofit. They will be able to give you an account,
You
a
have
checking
to-
account.
You have to have the number to give the bank.
Well, the letters for nonprofit is actually
Yeah.
downloadable directly from
Yeah,
the
okay.
TI website.
Yeah.
So you could do that if you don't have that already. If your bank is charging you $10, $20 a month for a checking account, make sure you let them know it's nonprofit, going to switch over. Or else you'll be paying too much. The reason you have to have two people on the signature card, maybe the president, the secretary, and the treasurer,
Well, secretary.
you could, then you will really need to make sure. If not, then that's the only person that can access the bank account. If you have a few $100 in there that you need to buy materials for the club, you can't. If you don't have that signature card authority. So at least two people in your club needs to have that.
Some clubs have debit cards. Our club has a debit card.
Yes, and it's good and bad. It used to be that we shy away from that, but to pay the dues on time, you almost need that. But you need to just have that trust in that person, whoever's holding that
Yeah.
card, because they can use it for anything. They can go to the grocery store and buy something. So unfortunately, that's the case. But you need to elect someone that's trustworthy to be your treasurer. That concludes the treasurer session. Reese? You want next again?
Yes.
I'm next? Okay, well, never mind. I'll make it quick. What's next? And you can videotape these sessions if you like. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, the next session is public relations. Public relations. Again, same question. Why do we need public relations?
To relate with the public. Just kidding.
To relate to the public. That's good. That's any other answer. I mean, sometimes, why do we have
To
presidents?
advertise to the public that we are a club.
Absolutely.
Looking for members.
Yes. Well, we had a secretary that take notes, right? Making sure everything is good. We have sergeant at arms that make sure that everything is ready to go. If something needs to be fixed, get it fixed. We have the treasurer, of course, keep up the money. And then we have the VP PR. PR, making sure you have the best front for your club. To the world. To your local folks and to the world. And that's the responsibility of that person. Publicize the club, keep the website current. How many of the website is actually current? Do you know you have a website? Okay. It's important if you're gonna have a website to keep it current, or else take it down. Whatever you need to do. Because if someone comes to your website and says, I'm looking for Toastmasters, I'm looking at your website, it was updated in 2005. What's gonna happen? They say, well, this club probably doesn't meet anymore. So they're not gonna show up. If they see, oh, they have something they just updated last week, that's great. I'm gonna go to that club meeting. You need to keep it up to date. Keep it simple, keep it up to date. You don't have to have the roster up there, you don't have the agenda up there, but at least a point of contact information. The address on there should be correct. Don't use the old address. I went up to my club and it was showing somewhere in Mobile Bay. The arrow was on Mobile Bay. That's not gonna work, right? Somebody gonna show up and say, where is your club? It says here, but it's not here. Keep the website correct. And of course, to safeguard the Toastmasters brand. This brand is very important because we're the product of Toastmasters. We're the product of Toastmasters. If someone says, oh, what's Toastmasters? They're gonna look at you and you say, oh, well, it's this and it's that, and then you can't really talk about it. What happens? Oh, that's Toastmasters. Okay, well, thank you. Are they gonna come back? They're gonna talk to you about Toastmasters again? No, you're the brand. You are the brand. Okay, so you're the product. You are the product of Toastmasters. There was a member that asked me one time, how long do I need to be in the club before I can call myself a Toastmaster? How long before you're in the club before you call yourself
As
Toastmaster?
soon as your dues are paid.
Most people don't. Most people don't. Because they don't feel comfortable enough to call themselves Toastmasters. Until they got probably 3 or 4 or 5 speeches in, they said, I'm a Toastmaster, right? You're the product. You are the product. So you're the brand. Protect the brand by making sure that you keep your skills up to date. Okay, that's very important. For VPPR, like I said, don't leave it to chance when it comes to membership, when it comes to putting the best foot forward for your club. And solicit help if you need that for VPPR. One thing that I see that most clubs don't do is newsletter for the club. I know it's a lot of work, but at the same time, that helps pull your club together. Make sure that you contact the local library. If you have flyers for your club, make sure there's some there. It will allow you to have that there. If there's local businesses like Carpe Diem, that they have a bulletin board, you can say, hey, do you have something there for Toastmasters? Yes?
Julie's?
Not at the present time.
Okay, well, you need to get some free flyers from Toastmasters. Every time you order something from them, you get free flyers. You can go ahead and put that on the first floor so people know you exist. If they don't know you exist, they're not going to show up.
Do you remember the code number for all those free flyers? She gave them at training.
What you want to do is when you order something for your club, go and look for flyers. And in there, they will say quantity of 50, you get free when you order something. Quantity of 10, whatever. You say you grab the free stuff. You go through pages after page. On the bottom, it says free. If you want more, then it'll cost you money.
Is that when you order those, like from the Toastmaster.org?
Exactly.
Site?
Exactly.
You go
Right. It
over
says
there, you can
resources,
see.
shop.
Okay.
Click on shop. You can buy T-shirts and sweatshirt. Don't do that. Go and buy the flyers. That's free of charge.
Okay.
Yes. When you order something, you can go ahead and have them ship that to you.
There's one number you can use to get all the free instead of separate.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Can you email that to us so we can?
Yeah.
Yes. We'll make sure everybody got a copy of that. Make sure you know the new local newspaper, library. You're so close to the school here or the college here. They should have break rooms somewhere. Students have break rooms. They should have material there. Ask for permission and go ahead and have your flyers there. So they would know, oh, if I need help with my public speaking class, I can go to Toastmasters League for 6 months, right? I mean, that's very helpful. Yes, yes, ma'am.
I found out just in the local newspaper.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you didn't have that article, you wouldn't have shown
I
up.
found it.
Exactly.
And I guess somebody from my club was already
It's
in
been
the
there
paper.
for years.
Me?
It's been there for years.
Oh, you didn't, who puts it in?
Well, probably Ted did way back
Probably
when,
did.
most of them, yeah.
He just keeps it
Yeah,
on.
no, well, you don't have to put it in every week.
For the flood.
Yes, yes. It's no fun going to a Toastmasters Club meeting and you see the same faces year after year. It's not fun. But when you have new people coming in all the time, then it's really fun. It's like, yeah, this is enjoyable. These people make me nervous because they're new members. They don't know all the habits I have, and all of a sudden, kind of, ooh, this is something that is a learning process. It's a learning experience. But if you see the same old people over and over and over, you kind of town out. By the time you're done with second or third year, you say, well, it's time for me to leave. So you really need to make sure that UVPPR gets the word out so you get new members. And new members is what drive the interest in continuing with your club and make sure it's quality. I think the next one is going to be VP of membership. Yeah, I'm just going to choose them to come up.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know if you need the slides or not.
It would help to see them, but we'll get started anyway. Hey, I'm relatively new to Toastmasters myself. I've been around for about 2 years. Some of the observations that I've made just by participating, we all got a reason we joined. Some of the things that I have been thinking about as I listened to John, who covered a lot of you guys, this part of it. When he mentioned, do you have a mentor? Well, in my opinion, the membership, VP of membership recognizes that every Toastmaster is a mentor. When a new member comes in, I think you may remember when you first came in, whether it was Nelson or Ted or Kalmata, we're all eager to help you. Part of the challenge was getting the membership dues in and getting in your book so we could get you started with the icebreaker. Now you're 4 to 5 speeches into it already. And everybody else went through the same situation as well. In membership, I also have observed in our club, the challenges that we have is really ensuring that meetings are well run. And that is part of one of the officers is helping the other officers ensure that they understand their positions as well. Because as I sit here tonight, I will confess to you, I'm confused with some of these roles. There's sort of bits and pieces and gaps that we're trying to piece together to understand how this all works. Because when you first come, you're just doing your speeches, but slowly as you get more and more engaged, you realize there's an organization behind these meetings that makes all this happen. And trying to understand that piece of it it was in fact an adjustment for me as well. It's like, why am I getting all these emails? This is volunteer work. But as I sit here and see this and reflect back to the meetings that we have, I can see the peaks and valleys that you go through with the club. With the organization, I see with the notes from the Eastern Shore Club, it seems to be pretty clear and direct and goal-oriented, where in our club right now, we're in a little bit of a lull. And what I see, including myself, are the participation. We do a good job of backing each other up, but what we're not doing as good a job as what we used to do is ensuring everybody was informed on the front end, whether it was by email or phone calls, and you knew your goals a week to 2 weeks to a month before you participated. So we look at our membership. We have an internal audience, that's our current members, that we have to address the individual needs. We're all here from different backgrounds, different reasons we're here. And we have the external members. We just had a young girl come into our club today, 18 years old, got accepted to a very exclusive school in Massachusetts, one of the 7 sister schools. Pretty impressive. And here's an 18-year-old young woman that gets it and understands the value of communication. So there we were excited to have her, but a little bit flat-footed on how to ensure that she comes back to our club or at least to one of the other clubs. Because here's a young person that could really find room for growth between now and the time she starts for school in one of these clubs. And as we all know with our younger members, and as we progress through Toastmasters ourselves, those who can speak well and effectively are generally the ones that the employers seem to favor. That's through good communication, whether it's volunteer or through our organizations. Also in the membership row, as I see it, and I haven't looked at these slides yet, we've got to ensure that our other club officers understand their roles. That's a real challenge for all of us because everybody's coming in from different backgrounds, you have different schedules, different things that compete for your time. As the as the membership VP is understanding where those gaps may be, so we can also step in and help them with those roles internally, so when we have those meetings, those visitors that come, see the value of participating. And it's more than just being this featured speaker of the week. It's understanding through each of those chairs that you work, whether you're the grammarian, the timer, the evaluator, the general evaluator, or the Toastmaster, you have the opportunity to stand up and speak and help be part of the meeting and ensure that it runs in proper order. And I see the role of the membership of being able to assist in that and take that outside the organization as well through the assisting with the club contests that may happen. There's other pieces that John shared earlier today, whether it's helping ensure the club understands how to use social media, ensure we've got someone who's committed to being able to maintain the Facebook website if you have one, or the Easy Speak website. That is a tool that the Hilltoppers Club does very well. We don't use that in our club, but I'd say it's a good tool, and it's a way to get information with some of the younger, more tech-savvy people. The use of social media seems to be the way to get the information out to most people. Okay, let's go to this next slide and see what we have here.
You can probably use the mouse and just roll down.
The slide put in this week.
Okay. Oh, you got it.
Watch from the mouse. Can you use the mouse? Just roll up and down.
Okay. So some of this I'm sharing what I like to call sometimes the glaring oversight of the obvious. We know these are the right things that we would do in meetings, whether it was preparation for a meeting at work or here in this voluntary setting. I think the voluntary settings that we work in are probably more challenging because other people have truly competing interests with the commitments they have from their family or their home or their work. And then you have this Toastmasters meeting. So as we can work with the executive members of the meeting to ensure that they're well designed and well, it's more entertaining to come and participate. And also be part of the process of helping those improve. So we addressed before the club meetings, that's ensuring our officers that we do the best that we're able to try to arrive early enough to be there where we can be there before somebody who's a visitor shows up. Ensuring that we do a good job of greeting the new visitors. I think all the meetings that I've been to, no matter where I've been, I've always been greeted. I was greeted here immediately when I came here back on the 1st of July. And I went to the Downtowners. It was probably 2 years ago. And everybody welcomed me in there. And like most good Toastmaster organizations, they throw you out to the wolves and give you the opportunity to speak at table topics. And it's a friendly environment, as you guys know. So I believe during this membership piece, it's in a sense everybody's part of that membership. You're doing it whether you share it with somebody at work. I'm doing this Toastmaster meeting. I think the methods that we used when I helped set up an informal club in Djibouti, Africa, at a task force called CJTF on the Horn of Africa. We helped set up a Toastmasters group, and we had about 20 members. I was surprised how many people were willing to participate, but we were able to go pull all the tools off of the Toastmasters websites. There's tons of information. It's not even the stuff that's on the Toastmasters International, all the various clubs. We had the ability to print out a word of the day for the next year. There was lists of table topics, just hundreds of items that you could discuss. There were jokes of the day that you could use. So that was something that even as members, you could put that in your hip pocket and to come to a meeting and you're prepared if you get blindsided if you have some absences in some of the key positions during the meetings. Now, with respect to that, John mentioned some things. Are there any other things you think that I haven't approached for membership?
Well, the main thing about membership is recruitment and retention.
Okay.
And you talk about membership, mentoring, retention, recruitment is important.
There was something you had mentioned earlier about the attrition rate in Toastmasters. And you had mentioned it was right at 40%. So we know when you're coming in the door, there's always that that dripping faucet of members that are going to leave for whatever reason. So part of the challenge is encouraging others. One of the things that occurred to me just while I was sitting at the chair, what we did when I was on my task force last year, I was able to go on to the Toastmaster website and download all the magazines. And working on closed internet, I was able to set out a link where people could go on SharePoint and download the various catalogs. What I was careful to do was not bombarding all the catalogs, all the magazines for the year. But it occurred to me tonight what we should have done earlier today with this young girl and her mother who had showed up is now that we have her email, let's fire her off her Toastmasters magazine. So now she's got a takeaway if we don't have a hard copy to give her. She's got a little incentive to think about whether or not this is something she wants to do. And for us, it's easy to do. It's free. And it's a good tool. Some of the experiences you guys have, many of you have been in Toastmasters as long as I have, so I'm more than willing to accept any suggestions as we go through this module in the spirit of inclusiveness.
We're doing membership folders. Yeah, so creating like a welcome packet.
Okay.
Here's an example. You can get this with Toastmasters.
Okay. The welcome packet. Also, I think what's important in the meetings, as you see, that again, it was sort of a blinding flash of the obvious, is as you mentioned, is working through the business sessions of updating where people are. Which, what I've learned is different clubs do things very differently. And there's resources out there on the website to ensure the consistency across the board through all the organizations. And I can only imagine that the organizers at Toastmasters have spent a lot of time and money and research to understand what are the behaviors that drive a good organization. And from what I'm learning over time, and that's the goal setting portion of the club success plan that identifies basically the roadmap where we want to go as an organization. And if we do that, that'll help ensure that we can meet those attrition rates and keep membership coming. It seems to be sort of a mechanical thing that happens in the background where the average member just isn't aware of it, but there's the framework of the organization that keeps the integrity of the Toastmasters organization going forward and keeping us striving towards our mission with a strategy. Because we talk what the mission is, but the strategy is how we go about doing that. And that's using those tools that are online to help us drive the membership, as well as all the other various roles that we have to be concerned with, whether it's the treasury piece, the VP of education. Because I can share with you right now, we probably have members that are not consistently bringing those workbooks so you can track. I think that's probably a challenge with everybody.
Then you can probably open that. It's impressive, actually.
Okay.
If it's still in order.
If I open it, I might have to talk about what's in it. Oh, this is very good.
It is very
So
good,
we'll
yeah.
put it in our own folders and not
In this
there.
nicely bound folder.
Yeah. What you can do on the right side is the icebreaker or the form for application. You can put that on the left.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Okay, great. So if you guys haven't seen what we got, have you guys used this before?
No,
So?
it's,
No. Me as well too. But inside the packet, here's the benefits of membership. One of the things we shared today with this young girl and her mother was the benefit of Toastmasters as far as an opportunity to do public speaking. When you compare it to Dale Carnegie, I don't know how many people have ever done that. I have. It was 25 years ago. Even 25 years ago, the course was over $1,000.
wow.
So in today's dollars, that's probably about $18 to $19 million. Very good course. But,
You can buy CDs now. I got the CD.
but the objectives you can achieve here for a fraction of the cost. And that is a real benefit. Plus, I believe with Toastmasters, there's various waypoints that you can measure your success by. Where with Dale Carnegie, it's kind of a one and done. You do it for 10 to 13 weeks, you get your certificate, and you're out the door.
And I heard a young man that joined Toastmasters ask them, well, if I don't get what I need out of this program, what am I to do? And he says, reapply, come join me. I mean, why? If it didn't do them any good the first time, it's just won't do them any.
It's a good course. If you guys have ever done it before, it works very hard on trying to stretch and use all your 5 senses to become a better speaker, which we have that opportunity right through the competent communicator input. All those things, and also now we recognize that with digital media, a lot of people in the workplace have to increase with PowerPoint as well. One of the challenges that we got pinged on, and I had to ping a lot of guys over in my Army unit, was presenting slides and having the speaker having a talk and looking at the PowerPoint slides. He's reading the slides rather than giving us a brief. And when that happens, it really diminishes your effectiveness in the presentation, because it doesn't really reflect what your knowledge is, because you're so engrossed in what's on the slide rather than the information that you have in your head to share, which is really what the leaders want. And I think with a lot of you guys, we're presenting information for people to have a better ability to make a better decision in the workplace. So that's my spiel with the membership piece. Again, in this packet, we've got
You can build your own packet as well.
Yeah.
This is for Toastmasters International. You can actually build your own packet.
This is pretty good, but because as you see, as I look at this, here's Find Your Voice. I think that's initial why a lot of people, if you made the choice personally to come here, or why your employer sent you here, is to help build and refine your skills to be a better communicator. Especially if you're working with clients, where you can help guide and shape and help them make decisions. And typically will align with your company goals as well too. So,
Which one you can get free when you order them.
really?
Go for the free.
This is free.
I've always lived off PDF documents, so this is new for me. So, nice little bookmark here. I guess we can slide this right on your Kindle. When you turn it on, to bookmark your pages.
Yeah.
Pretty handy. I guess we need a digital bookmark in Kindle there. So some nice brochures. You guys can get out there again. And there's a lot of the stuff. I found a lot of the stuff online in Adobe format as well. Makes it easy to email it out. Maybe many of you maybe already doing it.
We're also doing membership pins. So we're doing like a kind of small
For new
pinning
members.
ceremony for a new member where we call them up and welcome to the club and pin them in their lapel. So that's enough just to kind of add to it.
And that's just as I sit here and I hear this, I'm thinking all of the experiences that I've had just in the last 2 years, and working through some of this leadership piece. There's so much of this Toastmasters experience that I haven't experienced, and how meetings are run and conducted. We went to the first meeting at John's house a couple of weeks ago, and I talked with the former area director, who tells me of meetings that they would attend that would be 2 hours long. We would have nice banquet-style dinners. We'd have 3 to 4 to 5 speakers. So there's so many clubs, and everybody's got a different method of how they attack this opportunity to help people get better speakers. So I think the key is to be flexible, but ensuring in the membership role is that you're synchronized with all the other officers, that everybody's moving in the right direction. That seems to be the critical link that I've seen in our organization. Is everybody being on the same sheet of music. It seems to operate more smoothly. And the challenge is, like John mentioned, where everybody, where somebody gets loaded up with too many tasks. And then you see the situation where your individual members have different reasons for being there. So, yeah, with respect to that, we'll turn it over to the next piece.
So for the president's session, I'll just go through the slides and we'll talk about some of the high points of being the president. Okay, we're going to talk about the president's role, the president's responsibilities, and the president's resources. Okay, the objective is to identify your role within the club as president, fulfill your responsibilities within the club and club executive committee, find resources that will help you fulfill your responsibilities. Okay, the president's role. I'll keep the slide here for a moment. Basically, the president's role is to preside over the meetings and also to just stay abreast of what the other officers are doing. If any of the other officers need some type of assistance in finding their resources or anything else. So we'll go over the president's responsibilities during the meeting, outside the meeting, during the executive committee. Okay, before club meetings, upon arrival of club meetings, and during club meetings. Okay, before the club meetings, the president asks the vice president of education about any special recognition or member inductions. So if a new member comes in, or if anyone gets any type of award, you'll ask the vice president of education about anyone who's achieved that, or if any new members need to be inducted. Okay, plan the business portion of the meeting, and also review parliamentary procedures. Now, as we all know, we go by Robert's Rules of Order during the meeting, whenever, especially when there's a vote on any issue. Okay, upon the arrival of club meetings, review the meeting agenda,